last time, you all met a super chill gnome, and nothing happened, and you just kind of hung out for like a few hours, ate some lunch with him, and it was fine. Uh,
Oh, he was nice.
he was so nice.
He
No,
was.
truly epic last time running into a gnome, and like really maximizing the bard distract methodology of it, as Yuri distracted this gnome while once you came upon it, we're like, okay, we're gonna approach this stranger in this strange place, kind of thing. Hicks eventually figured out that he was transporting students up to a labor commission, as essentially
Ugh.
temporary contract slavery.
Ugh. Mhm.
Is what it breaks down to. Um, uh, but let me go back to my GM notes here. Actually, I should do this. Hop out that way. And bad at computer. There we are. All the way back down. Um, yeah. Uh, yeah. So I was gonna pass them off to the labor commission. Um, labor commission was up in Wyland, or Wylian. Um, I will always call it Wyland,
Twilight.
Wyland, and everything. He came upon them because they were trying to uh, escape the city as it was being attacked, and he happened to be a craftsman of like coercive bands, and so he tricked them. You released them after some trickery, some help with Fang and Nhudrel Hicks. Well, Yurival just fully befriended this wonderful gnome man and got him up into a tree, I think, at one point. To birdwatch. Birdwatch, that's what it was. Um,
Hmm.
you managed to free the students, got a little bit of information from them in regards to their suspicions of the kind of magic and everything. Not so much like definite answers, but leads at least, or at least potentialities um, of like what might have popped this off, and then you sent them on their way uh, with a the gnome's wagon, so that they could make their way up to the library of a drain, which is also where a drain sort of like higher education learning space is. Um, uh, and now you have sort of like a group of people in your debt, sort of a research nerd squad, that will happily help investigate things for you if you should ever so need. You can either message them magically or physically, after you make your way back down to back down to uh, back down to
Okay.
the Synod and the Storm and the Rift Ring. Okay, we're back. Um, I believe you all just sort of, we kind of left it off with with them exiting and you all just sort of talking. I had claimed at the previous session that there was a potentiality that you might make it to the edges of this greater storm or rift. You might make it to the edges of it if you push through all day and all night, and you get there kind of like super late at night slash super early in the morning. Or you could, push forward, sleep for one more night, and then get there, in the kind of early morning hours, or early afternoon hours of the next day. What is the party thinking for that? Do you want to go in the nighttime, or do you want to arrive at this thing at night or during the daytime?
They
Dex probably wouldn't be phased.
might be better. I mean, like, especially if it's like a storm, like with lots of wind and shit. Like, I think from experience, it can get very hard to see. Like, especially if it's raining. Like, rain and dark is very, very hard to see in.
Is it raining?
Did they
Well, it's
take
like
a rest? I forgot.
not yet.
You
I
haven't
think-
taken your rest yet. This is sort of deciding if you're going to take a full rest before you go to the before you get to the set pieces, if you will, or if you decide to push through. Yeah,
Wait.
I mean, what?
Didn't Fang want to rest last time because you were waiting for your little origami thingy to come home?
Yeah.
Back.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Just go for it.
that settles it nicely. It'll be good to do a nice long rest. Then you can position yourself in such a way that it should be easy to get to sort of the edges of this storm. Now that doesn't put you in directly already in Neapolis. That's just the capital city of the Synod. That's just where things start getting real ugly looking. To answer your question, it isn't always raining, but you have noticed that it does rain under the kind of unnatural storm clouds. It's hard to tell sometimes. There's still lots of things on fire. Well, at least there's a lot of smoke and glow, so you assume that there's a number of things on fire still. The storm is it's not shifting that much. It's like A, it's static in placement, and B, it's kind of maintained the same level of activity since it's been there for the several days. You're still seeing the flashes of lightning. Maybe at this distance, you can even kind of, if it's real quiet, hear like the edges of the thunder from it. I don't know how far thunder travels sonically. But I feel like around now you'd be able to kind of begin to notice it at least. But yeah, and so it kind of maintains as a kind of constant storminess. But the thing that it does kind of shift around is rain, and you might imagine, based off of lightning patterns and sort of the swirl of the clouds, maybe wind picks up and slows down at different times. But it's pretty much an ongoing storm. Yeah, so do you all want to kind of just travel for a bit and then take a rest so that you can kind of line it up for tomorrow and so that you can potentially get the crane back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
All right. Setting up camp is pretty bog standard at this point. You've done it several nights now. You all kind of have your roles and rhythms. Is Fang going to be cooking this time?
Yeah. Fang is cooking.
I believe there's a mechanical benefit to Fang cooking, so we want to make sure that Fang cooks.
How much bonus HP do we actually get from your cooking, Fang?
I roll a. What do I roll again? Where's my thing?
It'd be in features.
Gain a bonus to either Constitution or Wisdom, proficiency, and can prepare food.
1d8. I roll.
Wait, is that bonus healing or is that bonus health?
We're gaining additional hit points when taking a short rest, as well as gain temporary hit points after a long rest. So you get to use it on short rest, like more than you normally would.
So your proficiency bonus. So what's your? Is it +2 at the moment?
Yeah. Is that what Chef does? Proficiency.
Yeah.
And I believe level 3.
HP
I believe. Yeah. Level 3, it's 2. I think it's level like 5 or 6.
To be fair, 2 HP for me brings me to a nice 20. So I will take.
You can prepare enough of this. Make sure I'm in the. You look at something that's.
So we get 2 HP.
Yeah, 2 temp HP.
2.
Have feet. 5e. I want to check one. Okay. Okay. Who's taking first watch of the two transfers? Who's taking first watch? Who's
I'll
taking
go
second?
second if that's okay.
Yep.
All right. Can I have Fang? I need a flat D20 check from you. And Hicks, I need a perception check from you with advantage because you're literally doing this on purpose.
16.
Well,
Wait, was I meant to do one?
Wait, are you
No,
first
not
watch
you.
or second watch, Yuri?
Second.
he's second watch.
Okay.
Oh no, you're gonna get us killed.
Um, 16 for Fang, and then a 12 perception for Hicks. Um, Fang. Oh, actually, I'll resolve yours in the morning because I think it would take all the way until morning. So I'll resolve your 16 in the morning. So for Hicks, first watch, with a 12 perception, I don't think you notice anything particular out of place. Nothing approaches. There's no dangers or threats that come this way. I think the flat 12, the thing that has kind of become more consistent as you've approached this, is that there's less and less wildlife sounds. You at nighttime hear, you know, um, night predators, owl type, or like prey birds that prey on night, maybe bats and stuff like that. You definitely hear some insects and such. None of it. It's not it's not probably completely empty of wildlife, but it's so sparse. It's not in the region, and it's also very likely that at this point they're all on high alert if anything is in the region, so they're all very far away from the camp of larger creatures. Definitely no mammalian or large predators or like woodland creatures. But yeah, nobody approaches on foot. You don't notice anything particularly um, suspicious. It's just a watch as normal. And it goes normally for that first 4 hours, and then it switches over to Yuri. Same thing for you, Yuri. Perception with advantage for yours.
I can't find the button. There we go. That was okay. 20, not that.
20, not that. Okay, yeah. Yuri, uh, you're a little bit more. Something feels wrong here on a supernatural level, on an arcanic, magical level. Something's off. You're not unfamiliar with portals, so you know what they feel like. You know what a portal a spell feels like. You know what it's like passing through. You know what it's like when you're around one. Uh, Similarly to smelling things like ozone in the air and stuff like that. You can kind of tell, or if you're ever at like a power plant, you can kind of smell that you sense that you're at a power plant, and everything like that. I would say that with a dirty 20, there is definitely something wrong. It is definitely coming from the direction, and I'm gonna give you with the dirty 20. I think this is your first suspicion. It feels like planar magic, but it doesn't. It feels wrong.
Oh.
So this isn't some sort of like masterly done something about it. I assume Yuri's interacted with like elemental magic too, like weather magic, like storm magic, thunder
Yeah.
stuff, and everything. It doesn't feel like it's even like a combination of that. It's not that you're really like sensing this like great amount of magic and can gather detail. Just something is off, something is wrong, and based off of your kind of familiarity and like almost consistency in with like in being exposed around that sort of magic, feels bad, and like it doesn't negatively affect you or anything like that. It just feels bad. It's not good, and it's very unnatural. But otherwise, again, no threats, nothing dangerous comes to camp. You all wake up in the morning. Or this would be a total Baldur's Gate. Wake up in the morning and everyone just goes and they're long rested. But there is a little bit of something. And we're actually going to start with Hicks upon coming out of your trance. Making sure I was still recording. Coming out of your trance. Let me get to this. Hicks, it takes you no time because you were trancing and everything like that. I don't imagine Hicks has a lot of personal effects with them.
No, not at all. Yeah, like one teeny tiny little thing, but like nothing of like, this is a locket from my great grandma. Nothing like that.
Hicks, when your eyes open, the first thing your eyes gaze upon is kind of Yuri sort of gently kind of almost focused, distracted maybe, pointed in the direction of the of the storm. Very much still in the camp area, but very much on like the outer skirts of it, kind of engaged in this. You quickly find this around yourself. Around you, and then when you glance around the camp in general, you find that there are flowers that have kind of blossomed everywhere. Beautiful, like gorgeous, resplendent. It's the morning time. It's dawn. It's kind of a golden, like it's kind of past the dawn of golden things, and you're kind of in the early morning sunshine. There's by Fang and by Nhudrel, there's these kind of beautiful colored roses. Fang's kind of lean toward gold and amber. Nhudrel's kind of blues and teals, and you quickly glance around yourself in this moment, and yours, while still beautiful, are not colorful. They're in fact just black and white. What do you do in this moment?
Well, first of all, he wouldn't be able to tell the difference between blue and teal. So those are just one color.
So yeah.
Gold and amber also just one color. So
so they have one color. Each
like,
of them have their own
nice.
color, and then you have black and white roses, kind of surrounding you.
You're like, wow, I'm the only one who got 2 colors. Lucky me.
I mean, yeah, if he wasn't Hicks, he'd be like, oh, I got 2 colors. But he's Hicks, so he's kind of like, oh, okay. They're flowers. That's probably the weird little plant boy. He would just, like, upon noticing it, just kind of look back at Yuri. Not like say anything, like, can't say he's like, oh my god, they're flowers. He would just kind of accept them as if they were like normal grass, but also knowing he knows they're not normal because they just appeared overnight. And it would just kind of get up and then, without saying anything, just sort of like walk toward wherever Yuri is standing on watch. Because also he's obviously noticed him being a bit like distracted. He wouldn't say anything, and he's not gonna like call out to him or anything. He's just gonna walk up behind him, and then just watch him for a little bit without saying like anything.
In this moment of silent observation of Yuri, something that probably doesn't happen for Hicks ever. It kind of feels like when a normal person has a tune stuck in their head at first, just like a melody is sort of almost playing in the background, like a harp plucking its strings that are sort of like relaxing, almost like a kind of children's lullaby, but an ancient one, so not scripted and sing-songiness, not meant to be paired with human voices or fun, cute little lyrics. Just something sort of beautiful and calming. And at first, it's maybe a bit disconcerting, and comes a little bit further when a person that specifically noticed a lack of wildlife around hears birds sort of chirping in bird song, that after a few seconds of hearing this, kind of recognizing the internal melody in your head, you realize they harmonize, they synchronize, they blend together in this. Can I have you roll an insight check with advantage, please, Hicks?
20. Dirty 20, but
30-20. You feel amazing.
does he even know how to feel amazing?
I think that would be the thing. It takes you a bit to even understand what it is. But every creature that like rests and comes out of rest has varying degrees of like energy and soreness or lack thereof in the upon coming out of rest. It feels like you are at peak alertness. I think maybe for Hicks, it translates a bit more to your senses are tuned. You're fully aware. You're 100% ready. Instead of that taking a reasonable handful of minutes, maybe like a half hour for your body to fully like come into being awake and aware of its surroundings. It's almost like you would feel feel in a high adrenaline, high survivable moment, but there's no fear, there's no fight or flight response, there's no
More like all his
rush of
senses
adrenaline.
are like awake. Kind
All
of
your
thing.
sentences are just fully awake. You're rested. Maybe this is the first time you've ever felt this good without something like forcing it to happen, or this aware without something forcing it to happen.
Well, he's pretty sure that Yuri is forcing sense. He knows it's Yuri.
And so staring
It
at
ain't
Yuri,
natural.
staring at Yuri as you are, at the same time, Fang, you wake up to this same experience. For you, the melody probably blends a bit more into your dream. A sense of being calm and warm and secure, safe. Bleeding into your coming conscious to these golden and amber roses, roses around you, thornless in their nature. And then looking around, you see, the entire camp has essentially been beautifully painted to a gorgeous thing. You have that same sort of sense, Fang, of just fully rested. Your muscles aren't sore. Your body isn't groggy. There's no tension or ache in neck or back. Even though you're, camping on the road and didn't sleep in fluffy beds, you are very comfortable as you awaken to this. But for you, Fang, you notice that there is a particular flower pod larger than the rest around you, currently closed. It's roughly about the size of your head. Looking around, you see one is near Nhudrel, as well as one is where Hicks had been settled in their black and white flower patch, and everything. What do you do, Fang?
Thing is, like, first she thinks she's still sleeping, so she does the thing where she like opens her eyes, kind of has this like smile, like this is a nice dream, and puts her head back down, and then she's like
Oh.
sniffing, and she's like, wait, I can smell this. She opens her eyes again, and she's like, she has this like misconception, like, did everybody do magic in their sleep? And this is like,
Oh, baby.
she's like, what happened? She's like, kind of like gently pawing around, like around her, and just like trying not to crush any of the flowers. Like she's just completely enamored and completely like, have I done the magic? Is this
Am I
this how
magical
people
now?
discovered how they do magic? And she's like
Oh.
looking at everybody's like colors and like, did we all do the magic? Wait, I want to know how to do the magic. So she's
Oh my
like
god,
trying to think of,
Fang's
like-
the wild magic sorcerer.
she's trying to now she's like trying to pretend to sleep and do it again, but she's like opening her eyes every so often to like see if anything changes around her.
Other than the song that kind of plays, not audibly, but in your mind, and then the audible bird chirping noises that, whether by the grandest coincidence or more likely the connection to this moment harmonizing perfectly with the song in your mind. Yeah, you find yourself no magical further growth from Fang's efforts of concentrated magic.
Aw.
But the smell is still sweet. Your body still feels rested and ready, alert. You too, a very physical person, also feel like you could literally just like kip up just easily without question and do, 6 cartwheels and backflips and gymnastics
Ooh.
as much as you want. You feel almost in your your normal walking around humanoid form as powerful and spry as you are in your beast form, but without the mental like tension that causes within you. Instead, it just feels like you're in the best physical moment that you've probably had in a while, because certainly staying in Southgate was fun, but it's always tends to be around so many people. You're in a place where you don't know all the strangers, and they speak common at you, expecting you to understand them, and they're impatient when you don't communicate quickly enough, and stuff. But all of that is washed away. It's just you, the flower bed that you're in, and this beautiful kind of flower pod sitting sort of near you in the same sort of like color patternings of gold and amber.
I feel great. I feel good. Nhudrel, do you feel good? Hicks, Yuri, do you feel good? I feel great. She's like doing like stretches and just like enjoying the feeling, and now like mindlessly humming the tune that's going.
She's in a happy place.
Oh, she's in a great place. This is an amazing morning. She has no idea how. And then she starts like plucking up some flowers.
Jack, I know you're in severe
And then
pain.
like
Go on.
and then like she remembers what she did the night before, and then she starts looking for the grain. And then you can juxta Jack if you would like, if Jack
I
is
will.
okay.
Jack, I know you're in a lot of pain. Are you able to speak, or would you like me to? Or have you hopefully fallen asleep and are resting?
No, I'm wide awake. So Nhudrel, actually, you guys would all have seen this because you've been camping with him.
Mhm.
He sleeps with his arm. He sleeps on his back with his arms crossed across his chest, like some psychopath.
Well, to be fair, that's probably how Hicks sleeps too, if you think about it. Not that he sleeps
Oh,
properly.
really? That's hilarious.
No, he doesn't sleep properly.
So yeah,
But yeah.
same scenario. Flowers.
Ah.
You can see colors. So,
I can't.
yeah, blues and teals.
Clearly now. So yeah, he doesn't really notice because he doesn't like waking up. But with freaking Fang being very excited and happy, and he's sort of like, what is happening? Sort of unfolds himself from his bed of flowers, and looks very confused for a second, and then casts a questioning look at Yuri, because flowers and Yuri seem about right.
How dare. I hate flowers.
Uh,
They're
uh,
stinky.
give me an Arcana check, please. Or would you like me to roll an Arcana check for you, Jack?
Please, actually, that would be amazing.
Yeah. If so that you can just focus on the listening and talking where you're good with it. I'll roll your Arcana. All right. It's high enough for that.
Yama, I'm going to bite your nose.
You can't reach.
Oh.
You motherfucker.
You look so cute.
I can reach you. I don't care if I'm in a wheelchair or not.
You get kind of a I just looked at the picture. You get
I'm gonna get him a really big lily pad.
you get a strong sense while you're kind of analyzing Yuri. Obviously the larger flower pods, the ones that are about the size of like a normal, about head sized, you get the strong sense of like a kind of a magical energy coming off of yours, as you sort of like stand and struggle on there, and just as that happens, just as you begin to like really notice it, or your brain drifts to it, most interesting, before I get to that, most interesting for you, Nhudrel, you're a slow waker. You're not a morning person. You come out of sleep like someone's dragging you from under a deep ocean into the surface. You sleep hard and you sleep deep. And your body's usually incredibly stiff from laying with your arms crossed purely on your back. And everything. None of that is the case. You are fully comfortable, more comfortable than most mornings for you. Rested and aware, and perhaps this is why the arcane connection pops so readily. And so when you kind of draw your attention to this flower, it blooms. And inside of the flower is inside of that blooming, kind of large, oversized rose is a book.
Wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
Present. Like it's Venus flytrap and it's just gonna eat the frog.
The front
If you
of the
ever
book.
want to
That's how
catch
Yuri
Nhudrel, if you ever want to catch Nhudrel, that would be the way to do it.
The front of the book, while you're looking at it, because it's not like you can see the book. Front of the book has a flower bed on on the cover of it. That's kind of shifting little flowers that fade into the blue hues of kind of ocean greens. The changing in colors kind of results in a rippling, watery display running atop kind of the book.
Hello.
Hello.
It got really quiet.
Oh yeah. Do you go for the book? Do you suspect the book?
Oh yeah. What is self-control? Your teeth's gonna hold the book in both hands and try open it and examine it. He doesn't have glasses, but if he did, he'd be doing that, like pushing them up his nose to be like, oh, what's this? He doesn't even like use his customary good mornings to everyone. He's like, a book. So yeah.
When you open up the book,
Do I die now? Is this how I die?
nope. When you open up the book, it's filled with Fey writing, very beautiful kind of calligraphy, weaving across the page like the veins of a leaf, sort of twirling, inspiring, as if more flowers, similar to those around you, could just like bloom off of the words. Uh, that's certainly the first page and some of the pages. But when you turn to the second page, it just has simple text that reads, Nhudrel, voyage across the eternal weave of knowledge.
Oh.
But like a chapter or a title or like.
Yeah. Kind of toward the top of the page. The page itself is a parchment that's magical, but not like weave magical. It doesn't have the same sort of arcane energy of the spells that you do. More like a magical essence, almost. Not dissimilar to what you would imagine, like a fairy dust would be. Give me, or would you like to roll about this? I should say, and then I will roll for you.
Please help me roll about the thing that I'm very curious about.
I'll give you the choice. Do you want to roll Insight or Arcana?
Which one's higher?
Look. Arcana. Arcana is noticeably higher for you. So Arcana it is. Okay, that was a 17. You get the instinct based off of this. You get the instinct based off of this that this book is not just unnatural. It's not. It's not. It's not from here. It's not of there.
In the
Aliens.
same sort of way that
It's not of the material. In the same way that Hicks and Yuri are not of the material plane.
Material girl. Sorry.
Material girl.
More importantly, it has, when you kind of return to that second page, more print begins to kind of appear on the very beginning of the second page. Now, I have something for you. It is, in theory, just written on the page for Nhudrel. I'm going to message it to you, but since in your particular situation right now, Jack, I'm not going to stress you out with it. It's not prescient to anything that's going to happen immediately in this session or anything like that. Would you think that Nhudrel would privately and quietly read it? Would Nhudrel read it out loud? Because it is just a cover of a page of a book that's very clearly for you.
he's got his nose buried in the book and he's reading it, not out loud, but he's mouthing the words.
Okay, I'm going to message this to you while I'm thinking of it. And then you have it. Be private. There you go. And I will speak no more on it verbally in this session. Feel free, of course, to share it yourself.
Well,
if you so choose. But at the same time that Nhudrel's bloom opens, the bloom where Hicks's bed is, but Hicks is not, and the bloom where Fang's bed is, or the bulb, I should say, where Fang's bed is, and Fang is currently desperately trying to continue the magic. and everything. Both of those bloom. For Fang, you said that you were closing and opening your eyes, right? Trying to check if you could push forward more of this, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So at one point it's not blossomed, and then it's blossomed, and you can see a book inside of the blossom. What does Fang
Fang
do?
is now a druid.
Thanks, like I have magic powers now.
It's like I opened it with my magic.
I did it.
Do you
Fang's
do
gonna
you,
magic
stare
like
at
my friend.
flowers for years to come.
She totally like sits like like a kid like sits up real quick for Christmas and then just grabs the present. And just yeah. She sits up. She grabs the book.
cover of the book is autumnal colors, right?
Mhm.
Pin-sized flowers, and it's shapes to create a very kind of bright mane and a face of a beast that looks a lot like your beast form, Fang.
Oh,
Um,
she's intrigued.
do you open it up?
Yes.
I need you to roll a wisdom save for me. No, I'm kidding.
Oh.
Just
Big
for
words
Fang.
hurt brain. Big words hurt brain.
Actually, you open up the book and you kind of flip quickly through the pages, probably at first. Kind of do that whole like scroll through it. This isn't a book filled with words. It's filled with imagery.
Perfect.
At first, the images are kind of brilliant. You notice that there's a lot of food in the book. You kind of flip back to the first page, and there's a list of reagents, like cooking reagents, but not with words. Instead, like symbols, symbology representing what you quickly and clearly understand to be sweet, sour, savory, spicy, unsafe. Images of ingredients, some of which you recognize, some of which you don't. Don't. And then later, some of the pictures look to be recipes, and then you realize all of it is recipes.
Ooh.
Recipes that you've never seen before, though. Not things that you've experienced either at taverns or inns or with your home tribe. But delicious looking things, pies, cakes, savory and sweet things, things that you could bake or possibly make on a cast iron pan with a cover on it. Beautiful. I would say it's probably distracting for a bit, but you feel it almost vibrate, tingle, I should say, before it changes a little bit. There's a few things that happen on the front or toward the front of the book. Words begin to print out in your native language. This is again something that you can speak on. Would Fang verbalize this as you are reading it, because you can read it so comfortably? Or is it something that you would kind of privately absorb yourself? And again, this doesn't matter to this session or this campaign. It's not like required.
She probably reads out loud.
Okay. I'm going to message this to you. Would you like to read it for the group, or would you like me to read it? Leave that up to.
I'll read it.
All right. DMs. Where are you? There you are. Oop.
Oh shit.
Change your mind.
Do you want me to read it, or you want to read
native
it?
language. I'll read it.
Like the
And
cackling.
I would say that the
Oh,
strange
shut
effect
up.
that you hear is that, Fang, you are reading in your native language. But since you have chosen to read these words out loud, for everyone else, they hear it in their own fully understandable first language tongues.
Oh, shit.
Do I know?
So you can just read it as is. You don't have to translate it into Fang.
Cool.
Do I know her language? Like her first native language?
No, there'd be no. You would need several years of studying it. It is not inherently similar to a lot of the split off languages that you would have been familiar with in your own history or even studied as common property languages.
Hmm.
You would know a few words though. It was like a
Yeah,
language exchange.
you catch bits and pieces. Maybe Nhudrel, you catch that that Fang is actually speaking native tongue. But you understand it in Vidalcan.
Interesting.
I guess you'd see her mouth moving with the clicky stuff.
Yep.
It's going, and then it's just like, and then I was like at the shop doing my thing.
Hail and well met. There once was a big, strong stranger that strolled into town. The townsfolk were afraid at first, for they had never seen someone so big. But soon the stranger laughed and spoke in a loud boom. Hail and well met. This calmed the crowd. This was a happy stranger, so the town embraced them. That stranger lived in town for seasons. They spent the summers hunting and fishing, and after each catch would honor their kill with a hail and well met, and the winters staying warm by fires and telling stories to delight, greeting each visitor from the town with a hail and well met. Some many seasons later, that town was visited by another strangers in a group. These strangers were not laughing and did not greet them. These strangers wanted to take from the town and move on. They were mean and pushy and bullied the townsfolk. The townsfolk nodded and gathered things to give the mean strangers, so they would go on their way. The strangers agreed to return that night. The big, strong stranger, no longer a stranger but friend, came back from a hunt to the scene. They saw their friendly townsfolk gathering supplies. They asked what was happening. The townsfolk explained that the bullying strangers demanded supplies, or they would harm them. The big, strong friend shook their head. I will talk to them. The townsfolk asked them not to. They said it was fine and that this happened before. The big, strong friend had ever shown up. The big, strong friend said, no, I am sure we can come to an agreement. Besides, no worries, you have me now. The townsfolk fretted and tried again to convince the big, strong friend throughout the day, but there was no convincing them. The townsfolk continued to grab supplies. In the evening, when the bullies returned, they expected and found a wagon filled with harvest, clothing, and all manner of material the town had collected for them. They did not expect the strong friend. The big strong friend raised his hand up and began to speak. Hail and well, but the big strong friend did not finish. They could not. They had been struck with an arrow immediately. The townsfolk gasped and screamed as the other strangers, the mean ones, attacked them as well. Only a few escaped, but most were lost. Everyone is not a friend. The rules are different for everyone. Just because you are strong does not mean you are always the strongest.
Fang, you've heard that story told to you dozens of times. It was a common fable around town. Um, Everyone in the community heard it. You never quite got if it was a fully fictional work or if it was a historical tale. It was never clear, and no one ever made it clear, and it didn't seem super important to ask. At the other side, maybe halfway through the book, you find that the pictures eventually end of food. You find some Fey writing kind of inscribed upon it. Some Fey writing inscribed upon it. Almost.
She read that out loud.
Yeah,
right?
she read all of that out loud. Yeah.
Okay.
It's so beautiful. It's the only thing written in Fey in your book. Beautiful woven language that it is. Begging to, almost calling to you to touch it.
Fang's gonna get magic powers.
She does that. She touches it. She runs her fingers gently across of it.
The symbols change, and you see printed symbols of what you recognize to be your own people's markings of calendars and days and seasons.
Ooh.
And then I message you what that's about. And yeah, so you all heard Fang read the intro of Fang's book and everything. Any reactions, responses? I will say that Hicks, if you glance over at your flower bed, you will see that kind of blossomed black and white kind of like large flower. And there's also a book in there.
He's just currently sussing Yuri out.
Yeah. You're elsewise focused. I'm letting you know
so
that I'm
he's
not.
just, like, standing
You're not
there
being
watching him.
skipped on this or anything like that. There's a thing, but you're elsewise busy.
Yeah, he's otherwise preoccupied with whatever the fuck Yuri is doing.
Yeah,
he's
Nhudrel, Fang.
He's listened, obviously. Like, he kind of like, I mean, he has somewhat pointy ears, so you'd kind of see them like the one twitch when Fang starts speaking. So he is like listening to her, but he's also not taking his eyes off Yuri. Because he's doing his funny trancey harp playing shit, and he's kind of just like, weirdo.
Yeah,
What are
you're
you?
completely unresponsive.
This is giving
I'm
me
in
Paladin
different
and the
place.
rogue energy.
Giving what?
Paladin and the rogue energy.
That's actually our classes. You have discovered the secret.
You know what I
I'm
mean.
a paladin.
Yeah, like Hicks would not go back to his flower until like I don't know, Yuri came to, because he's gonna just watch that he doesn't do anything weird.
I will say
Weird,
Yuri's not coming. Yuri's not going to be coming too.
Not
Like
not
time
in
would pass. Like while the flower's there, Yuri is not moving.
the.
Oh.
As in unresponsive.
Well, Hicks would then probably like walk, like take a step in front of him, and just like pay, because he's been looking at him from the side. Well, actually from the back, really, like 3/4ish. Now he's just gonna walk around and look at him from the front, and then just take up like a hand to his head and like click his fingers and see if he gets a response.
Nope.
Oh, it's the perfect time. We just leave him and run, guys. Let's go.
Not even a blink.
No.
Is he actively playing the harp, or is it just kind of like making sounds?
Yuri's not
That'd be
physically
simple.
playing anything, I don't think.
Oh, am I not? Okay.
It's just.
So what was he doing?
Is he holding the harp then?
Yeah,
He would be holding the harp.
Physically holding the harp, but not the fingers aren't dancing.
But you can hear the harp playing.
Hicks is kind of gonna look at like the other two, and then just kind of like almost in the sense of like beckoning them over to come look, kind of thing. And then he's just gonna look back at Yuri and wait for them to come if they come, just so they can see what he's seeing. So I don't know if they come or not. Otherwise, Hicks is just going to push Yuri over and be like, hey, he's dead, let's go.
I mean, I think Nhudrel will not ask a million questions that he has about the book that Fang has and make his way over to where Hicks is.
Yeah, did Nhudrel get to the end of the book? I can't remember if you described.
I did not. I don't believe I described the end of the book for Nhudrel. Not yet.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I'm banking. There's other things about these books, but I'm banking a little bit of Nhudrel's.
Okay.
Was Fang being beckoned to too, or is
Yeah, no, he looked at you both and like did the
Oh,
like
okay.
eye thing, like the come here.
We
Oh.
were
He didn't
being,
say anything, he just did the
being
motion.
eyeballed.
if Nhudrel starts moving, like she's gonna catch that out the corner of her eye and just like be like, "Huh," and then also like slowly get up and follow.
And then when they come closer, Hicks will take like a little step to the side so that they can also look at Yuri. Like he's not going to say anything. He kind of wants to see what they think / say before he would do something.
It's actually quite funny that you say that, because Nhudrel's gonna look at Hicks like, is this normal?
I don't think Hicks would even know if that's normal.
He would just peg it down to some Feywild shit. He'd be like, hey, weird, I guess. Don't know what he's doing though. I don't know. Well, I'm not smart, but Arcana checks or
Yeah,
something. I don't know.
yeah.
Or
You all
perception
Yeah.
checks or something.
can roll
I
some
don't know.
checks: Arcana, Perception, Survival.
Same with
Fang's
Oh,
gonna
no,
do a
no.
sniff check.
Nhudrel would also. What? Are we sniffing him? Okay.
Yep, she's giving him a sniff. Her
Uh,
sniff was so bad, it's full of flowers.
No.
Nhudrel. Your strongest checks are Arcana, History, and Religion. History is not going to help you here. Do you want to do an Arcana or a Religion check, or do you want to just go with like Insight or Investigate or what have you?
I feel possibly Arcana.
All right.
I also rolled shit.
Nobody rolled particularly. It doesn't look like Yuri's in distress. Doesn't look like there's anything cast. Like there's no like particularly pain sense. Nobody gets a really high sense of danger or threat, but they do look very much out of it. Almost like they're physically here, mentally. The pupils are probably shifting based off of light, or and occasionally like telescoping and stuff like that. But like nothing nothing significant. They just look like they're fully engaged and unaware of the environment around them in this moment. And yet at the same time, by the look on their face and by their eyes, they don't look glassy-eyed. They don't look they're acting as if they're unaware of the environment. But if you get a good close look at their face, which you have plenty of time to do, close look at their face, they're not, their gaze isn't fully disengaged, but it's not seeing any of you. Fingers waving in front of their face doesn't like make make them go, oh, hey, what's up?
Would I know if it would be safe to try sort of rouse him out of whatever is going on?
I don't know if you know
I
for sure, but you don't know of any spells that like if you touch someone, unless it could contract to you. That would be your biggest concern. So wouldn't there's no spells where, as far as you know, that are like out there that are like, oh, you try to jostle someone. It's not like waking someone who's sleepwalking or
Whip him
anything.
with a stick. Poke him with a stick, Fang. No, I'm joking.
Oh,
I get confused and she's thinking like maybe he needs quiet time because sometimes Nhudrel takes quiet time or like people in a village has taken quiet time. So she'll like
I
sit next to Yuri very closely and like read the book, like have it open in front of the two of them, like she's like they're showing the book.
Hicks is just gonna look at Fang like, alright, so you know you're not really gonna help. Okay, got it, thanks.
No, yeah. She's not she has no idea.
I don't know if there is a way to bring him back from whatever it is that he
I mean, you
experiencing.
could try shaking him, he might wake up.
That seems crude, but worth a try. I'm gonna try shake his shoulder.
When you touch Yuri's shoulder, you get a sense of like an aura, not dissimilar to auras you've heard about amongst the faithful, warriors or champions of their domain or god or spirit or whatever they've pledged themselves to. But the aura, instead of just being kind of an even sort of feeling radiance from their body, seems to be more of like a stream that leads away from Yuri and back towards something that you're probably just noticing now as your eyes are drawn back from the stream. It's almost, you can't quite see it, but it's more of a feeling, but it's almost like you can sense its direction. And Nhudrel, your eyes are drawn back to a bulb, the bulb that has blossomed, the flower that has blossomed. The whites growing brighter, almost glowing even in this morning daylight, and the blacks sucking in and sapping in light as Hicks's flower, which has a book in it, like almost beams with an arcanic energy. And I think when you touch him, Nhudrel, you now understand that the book is somehow attached. That is the only stream or thread that you can feel, Nhudrel.
I'm not 100% certain, but I have a feeling that whatever it is our friend here is experiencing may have to do with the book that is lying where you used to sleep, where you slept.
Hicks is just gonna kind of like look over at the, what is it, like a pod?
Well, it's now a blossomed flower. It's currently
Blossom, yeah.
fully blossomed out.
They'd like look at the book, look back at Yuri, and then just make his way to the flower, and then reach out for his book, and then take it. He wouldn't have opened it yet. He would have just taken it and then like looked back at Nhudrel as if like, is he awake now?
When you grab the book, Hicks, without having to open it, on the outside, it is not mesmerizing, dancing oceanic flowers or a beautiful rendition of almost fantastical beast. It's pretty plain at first glance. Looks like a elven tome. It's got some detail to it. The only kind of really designing patterns, what first look like kind of imprinted or like inlaid lines, are like a pattern of kind of black vines that sort of all rise to this single, small, simple, almost iconography style white rose. And at first glance, that looks what it's simple. It simply is. But as your eyes leave it to look back to Yuri, out of the corner of your eye, you know that something is slightly different about the center of the flower. But it's hard for you to see since you struggle
the
with
flower
terror.
on
the book.
or on the
On the book.
Oh.
About the white flower on the book. There's obviously something in the center of it. It reflects light a little differently. It's not like a gem or a jewel. It's a color shift, but it's hard for you to differentiate subtle color differences. But you suspect that it's like there's something probably quite beautiful there. It's certainly not something that's as easy for you to see. For you, for I would say for you, Yama, there's like a pale, like a very pale blue glitter, kind of in the center of the flower, like center of the flower head. That is one of those like gracefully done things, but it's all very, very there. But it's a heavier book. It's thicker than the other books. But otherwise, on a shelf, if someone just browsed their eyes past it, it'd be a black book with a white flower, sort of symbol on it. And then that's it. You have to really look at it to understand that there's like deliberate design work done in it. But that's just the cover. Yuri doesn't. Nhudrel, you're able to see that the arcanic stream is still kind of connected to Yuri, and Yuri doesn't really like shift or change very much.
Perhaps, Hicks, if you try read the book.
I think there's going to be very much like a, why does me reading a book, why are books connected to his sense of mental stability? But he would everyone else opened their books, so he would open his.
Did he ask that, or did he just like?
No. That's just kind of what he's thinking to himself. Like,
doing the judgmental face is probably his own response.
If he made expressions, he would be have a very judgmental face, but he doesn't. He just he will open the book and then look at the first page or whatever. I guess you'd open it on the first page.
It's hard not to see on the kind of as you open the book, and it's relatively thick, so the pages sort of fan out. It's hard not to see that the trim of the pages it's extremely orderly in this. The first page, the first page of it is blank. The second page, which you can see has like the edges of writing on it and everything like that as you kind of open it up, and the pages sort of splay a little bit on the edges of the trim. You find militant reports. Hold on, I'm making sure I'm reading right here. There we go. Specifically centered around the unseelie Fae. Use of darkness and shadows. Things that some of which you'd be kind of familiar with a little bit as far as like tactical structures and things. Page after page of reports, not a complete thing. The book isn't filled with print. It has reports kind of organized and easily recognizable of mostly tactics and everything, and reports of some level of history too, of sort of what's happened really in the past few days. It does look like there's space to fill in more information and deliberate spacing in between that. One of the most notable things that you recognize that further confirms the attachment that you're already sure of with Yuri is that there's very clear document description of every type of hag. As you kind of leaf through it and scroll to like find yourself kind of quickly glancing at the end of it, there's a artistic description, visual painting rendition, rendition of a just massive elven city surrounded by towering trees and glittering flora. I need you, Hicks, to roll this isn't to save against something. This is just sort of to set a tone. I need you to roll a wisdom saving throw. But I'm not like affecting you with anything in this point. I'm just using that for the measure.
Got a 13.
13? Okay. I think it's hard for you at first to understand looking at this picture because it's distracting. It takes you a little bit to understand that it's distracting because unlike the cover of this book, the world around you, and everything, in this picture, you see this in full color, full spectrum color. It's like Wizard of Oz coming to Oz, full spectrum vision, brilliant, beautiful colors, towering trees, glittering flora, colorful birds flying, circling the city. And what's stranger still to you is that something about this image, this city that you're looking at, in the way that you're seeing it, is familiar. You also feel a magical sense of energy coming toward the inside cover of the book, and at a quick glance of that, you see some elvish printing, very formal, very organized, very symmetrical, and I'm going to message that because there is 0% chance that that Hicks would read any of this out loud. Where is my most recent? There it is. Boop, boop. So I've deemed in that is what's printed, and there's more kind of in different sections, but that is what's printed on the inside of your book, Hicks. I think at this point, in this moment, is when Nhudrel, you notice the kind of arcane energy stream begin to sputter out, and the thread between Yuri and the book Hicks is holding dissipates.
Oopsie.
I think you might have broken whatever it is that's binding these two together.
Yuri?
Morning.
Yeah.
Ah.
I'm reading it quickly.
He's
Nhudrel
jumpy.
totally didn't fall on his ass.
Very top.
That looks fun. And I fall on my ass.
Oh.
Oh, I didn't put the very top line. I apologize. Give me a moment. It doesn't provide much, but I failed at my copying and pasting skills. There we go. Oop. There.
You did not. You did great. Thank you.
But yeah.
Brother.
There we go. So for you, Yama, that is at the very top of that inside cover.
Okay.
And you flipping through, you'll find other entries not dissimilar. All right. Yeah, that's your morning. You all have fancy books. Flowers are still there. Everything's there. Music probably begins to quiet down. Birds begin to chirp less and more sporadically, and then their sound disappears as well. And it's it's morning on the material plane. Fine. Just to the south of you is a giant raging storm. But that's like an invisible wall containing it to its space and not interrupting the cumulus beautiful clouds that are in the sky elsewhere, broken up by morning sun.
Wait.
So what are we doing sat on the floor?
Hold on, I'm
Um,
just deciphering my stuff, but Hicks would say something. But just
Okay.
wait.
Thing is,
If you've got the
Yuri.
Hicks.exe isn't working. Huh?
Thing's excited. She's like, Yuri, we
Hi.
woke up in flower beds,
Mm-hmm.
and big flower gave everyone books. This book is
Wow.
really neat. And she's like showing Yuri like all the
Yeah.
recipes.
Yeah, I know. I hope you like it.
I love this.
Yeah.
Did you do this?
Mm-hmm.
Thank
You
you. And then she like
Yeah.
opens her arms. She's like, "Can I hug you?"
Yeah. I don't give a
And
thing.
then she like scoops him up and gives him a big
Oh,
hug.
Yay!
Fang.
Just yay!
Yeah.
Sorry. It's my voice is actually like I'm getting a little bit sick, so it's getting harder and harder to progressively do Yuri's higher voice because my voice is slowly starting to deepen.
yeah, you're going through a puberty spurt there.
Oh, thank God! Finally, one could say I'm finally blooming. A bit of a late bloomer.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
yeah. How old were we? Like, what? How old are you? Like 200
Uh.
some years? I don't know.
Impossible to tell, really.
So that's when you folk go through puberty. Understood.
Wait, is this in character? I don't think Yuri knows what puberty is. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think that's me.
I responded in character, but that was not like in game. Sorry.
Oh, okay. No, it's fine.
Yeah, Yuri, everyone has their fancy special books around you. You wake up feeling wonderful. It's rare that you wake up
Yeah.
any other way.
I know.
normal.
Life is just so good.
Unless there's an impending threat, you're like immediately in front of you. Why would you worry yourself with anything else in the morning?
What were you gonna say, Nhudrel?
No, I just realized in this situation, Yuri and Nhudrel are complete opposites in the waking up department.
Oh yeah. Yuri is a perpetual morning person and night person and life person.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at least while he's in spring.
All of that exhausts you, Nhudrel.
Being happy is exhausting, yeah. But do you know what? It's spring, so we gotta be happy. On a biological set.
Nhudrel's perpetual old man energy, tired old man energy.
Ah. Flash stressed brother.
It's pretty much Christmas for Fang this morning.
And to be fair, Nhudrel doesn't feel tired for once, so you had your coffee.
Your coffee.
Good coffee.
Okay, I've kind of read through it to made possibly right assumptions at some points. Six would kind of when he saw the picture, he'd have wanted to slam the book closed immediately. Because he found that weird. But if he's like when he saw the writing and stuff, he would look at it, like read over it another time, maybe one more time, and then probably slam the book closed and put it in, I don't know, your magic D&D bag.
Put it in your
Every
inventory
character
up
has.
above your head.
Yeah, I don't know, he puts it somewhere. I don't know, magic.
Yeah. It's everybody just understands that people can carry 150 pounds of stuff with them somehow.
Somehow, it's just magic. It just he puts it in magic bag.
Yeah, in magic bag. A magic bag just has
like
it.
magic pockets or something. I don't know. He's got like the pocket that every woman ever dreams to have on their dress.
Oh, amazing!
That kind of thing.
Amazing.
But yeah, he'll slam the book closed, like probably like purposely loud. And then magically put it away. And then he's just going to like glare, give Yuri that semi-death glare that he's given him more than once before. and then just like stare at him, not saying anything,
Oh.
not moving. He's just gonna, for now at least.
No, you're just looking at. What did I do?
These flowers of
So-
yours.
Yeah.
Explain them.
Well, the flowers, and I grew them.
Not the stupid little ones on the floor. The big
What?
ones
I
with the
don't call them
books.
Stupid. Well, I grew them.
You grew a book. I get confused. Just looking at
Well,
Nhudrel.
Kind of. I mean, it didn't mean to. Well, I did. No, I was making the books. I've been kind of making them for a while, but I've been struggling with it. And then, I was working on growing the flower beds and stuff, and I just, I finished up the books, and
And the
yeah,
content of these books?
the reports. Yeah, they're reports. I wrote in the reports for you. That's what you mean, right?
He's
You-
just gonna kind of like give him like a very like unreadable.
Yeah,
Stay.
throw an insight check on
Yuri
that, Hicks.
actually looks genuine.
Yeah, throw an insight
Just
check
fucking
on that,
ruined it.
Hicks.
Huh?
Roll an insight check for me, Hicks.
Insight me.
Insight
Oh,
Yuri.
I don't have very good rolls, so yeah, I'll see.
I'm a plant.
Yuri looks like Yuri.
I mean, to be fair, Yuri isn't hiding that he looks confused. It's just more like
Yeah.
you wouldn't be able to tell if he's lying that he's confused.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Yuri looks like Yuri.
Yuri.
Oh,
Yeah, he's not being.
God.
He's not giving you like flirty. Am I lying? Looks. He looks confused. But yeah, you can't really tell if that's an act or not.
Yeah, he just kind of like stare at him. He's got an unreadable face, so you can't really tell. But it would be obvious that he is like annoyed.
Yeah. Fang showed Yuri a lot of Fang's book, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yuri, I will say in Fang's book, you're seeing there's parts of it that you are more surprised by than others. I will say
Okay.
for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You would not know everything that you put into that book.
Yeah. Yuri would kind of like do like that ADHD thing of like he's gone to be like talk to Hex and go, wait a minute. And he would turn around and start like, be like flicking through the books. And be like, Fang, is this your language?
Yes.
Whoa.
my
When
language.
did you write this?
I didn't.
What?
It came like this.
No, it didn't. I didn't put it. No, it wasn't like that when I put it in the flower.
Oh. I'm confused.
Me too.
I have
What is it?
many
What is it?
questions.
Oh, Nhudrel, are you allergic to fairy dust?
Excuse me.
Okay, well, yeah, okay, you've not developed a donkey tail. Okay, do you smell, do you smell like the feeling of loneliness?
You don't.
No?
You don't.
Okay, so, and as long as you can't taste the color purple, you're probably fine. If you do, you're dying. But anyway, that's a spell book for you.
And it's at this moment, Nhudrel, that
Oh, God.
yeah, it's a fucking spell book, and it's
Do
not
I
just
start
a spell
smelling the
book.
color?
It's not just a
Do I
book.
start smelling the color purple?
No, you don't. You don't start tasting purple, or anything. You're fine. But the book in your hand is not just a spell book. It's a spell book with magically imbued pages.
Magically.
Yeah. meaning that that most people's spell books have spells that they've cast on them to ward them and protect them and stuff like that. This spell book is infused with fairy dust, which means that this is not just a normal run-of-the-mill eldritch powerful tome with words of import and classic arcane knowledge that makes it magic over time on itself. It comes pre-equipped with magic that might be an interesting experiment to see what happens if you were to scribe some
I don't want to done.
spells into it. Not necessarily the intention of the person that provided the GM this item, but you're the one who put Fey Dust on the pages, and so I'm gonna run with that.
Deepsy doopsy. If Nhudrel has that open mouth thing, Yuri's just going to very politely cup his jaw and just shut his mouth for him. Like, he's doing it to be friendly. It's just Yuri.
But yeah, this was also a way to, just so that you as players are aware. So, obviously, I received these items from Sam, and then I added some things in them that Sam doesn't know. Other than what Fang read.
Have fun with that.
So the stuff that I DM'd you is not from. I didn't share things to a player to then put into the books that are that.
So I don't know.
And so yeah, everyone knows Fang's thing now, but there's stuff and there's other things that I am doing with them, because you give a GM a thing and immediately it's like, what if I add, some ginger and some fucking
Let me cook. Let him cook.
Yeah,
Let
some
him cook. Let him
cardamom
cook.
into this to further make it interesting. But yeah, this was definitely Sam being like, I want to give the party these things, and I need you to acknowledge this quickly because you also need to do work on it. And I was like, this is great. I love it. But yeah, you all have these books. Add them to your D&D character sheets. They don't need to be fully, fleshed out, but just know that you have them and know that they are sort of extremely interesting little bits for you that will not just be about now or this moment, but will probably matter for quite some time.
Speaking of, Yuri would probably look to Nhudrel and go, Nhudrel, did you find out the secret yet?
What secret? He doesn't know, like, what exactly Yuri is talking about, because there's just so much in this book.
Okay, well, there's a secret. You gotta find it, and then you'll find more stuff. Because I thought you liked riddles, because you're smart. It's not really a riddle. It's barely a riddle. It's really easy.
Does that make Nhudrel immediately start shuffling through the book?
Really easy.
I think after he realizes what he has in his hands, he's just going to look at Yuri for a second and then take him by the shoulders and then kiss both
Snap my head
cheeks.
off.
Yeah. Be like,
Something more
Yuri does that happy little wiggle.
just like very solemnly, thank you. I don't think you understand what this means to me, and that's okay.
Is that okay?
I mean, in the nicest way, I wouldn't have made it what it is if I didn't understand somewhat what it meant to you. I know I'm a bit different, but I'm fairly good at understanding people. People just don't understand me.
No, but I am working on it.
Now find the secret. I want to see what you think. And does that like kid who's like, I want to open the present.
Open it all the way.
He's kind of like he's bobbing up and down slightly while he's watching.
Yeah, well, like, I suppose now Nhudrel's just gonna sit and try to figure out what the fuck it's.
I'm not gonna make you roll for it. So you get to the end of the page, the final page on the book, where you see a Nhudrel speaks Elven, right?
I think
Sylvan,
so.
you speak
I
Sylvan.
think it's
So yeah, you find a pretty recognizable ward that you may have dismissed it by distraction alone on the very final page. There, beautifully inscribed, kind of famous sort of like ward that historically, which you know, was used to protect ancient communities by like the what level of fame? When I'm talking about famous elven, or famous like ancient, um, uh, like magic users, arcane casters in the material plane. There's people that people know because it's relevant to their regional history, and then there's people that like everyone knows. So
Like
there's like
Merlin.
Merlin level. Yeah, that's exactly Merlin level fame, right? Where it's just like everyone knows what Merlin is. They all know what Merlin is. They might have different stories, but everyone knows. So like this level, and you see this kind of ward symbol of protection that is beautifully inlaid, and very similarly to Fang's book, is begging you to just touch it. Just touch the ward.
Do it. Do it.
Is going to look at Yuri, then look back at the ward, and I'm gonna touch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The pages suddenly fill in this section. In these pages, you find magic quickly described to you, not magic that you've studied in books, but magic of the Feywild, and more importantly, you know that Yuri's statement just previously of like, I understand how important this is. Reading it, it takes you 5 sentences to know that if Yuri started reading magic described this way, they'd fall asleep. It is the driest description of the most fantastical thing you've ever read about. It's like reading about nuclear fission. It's like a manual for it. It's complicated. But it also includes rules and like the physics of it, like the sort of properties of it. It's not physics. Feywild stuff by its nature is not consistent, but it even has bits and pieces about that. It also has a fundamental rule about the Feywild, specifically the phrase, "A mortal must never leave their Fey guide," which is more eloquently written out and almost feels when you're reading it like Yuri is smirking at you.
A mortal must never leave their Fey guide.
Yeah.
This would be like in the context of when you are in the Feywild.
When you're in the Feywild.
So it's a list of like the Fey rules. For
the Fey rules. The rules for operating for visitors of Feywild.
Like when you go to a country that's potentially dangerous.
Yeah. Like America. Like the
Actually,
US.
yeah, we do have one of those in England.
You should.
Yeah.
You should. Absolutely you should.
We do.
It's like...
All right.
And just to ask you, Sam, is the part beneath that is that also something that becomes very visible and immediate to Nhudrel?
Yeah, it's basically like it fills the entire book, and then you can press the rune again and swap it back to the spell book.
Yeah, and
So very visible everywhere.
So there's other sections about methods of Eladrin blade singers. Baron of Summer. Remainder of the book explores training methods and styles of casting employed by the ancient art of blade singing, where sword and magic sort of intertwine in a dance. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. There's you've never heard of casting mixed with martial prowess and art all kind of merged. You yourself are only at the beginning of your journey of the idea that you can swing a sword and cast a spell, right? And there are others that can do that, but no one would describe them as graceful. No one has, unfortunately, Nhudrel, described you as graceful. But
Oh.
uh,
Oh.
uh, the dance seems like a far off vision of something that's not easily in reach. But this method of spell reading, the like the logic of it and the sort of intertwining of it is compelling and interesting. And yeah, when you press the ward, it disappears the text, and so you don't just have one book that's a spell book primarily. You have two books: one of history and information, and that you never had, and one of information that you yourself can add. Yeah, there. That's all of it. That's all the things. It's all the things I'm revealing.
Nhudrel. It's so funny because, like, when you said that you should never leave your Fey guide, I'm like, did Yuri just give him like a passport to the Feywild? Like, what?
Not a passport, just a rule book.
It's a rule book. He's gonna close the book. And very quietly, since you're close to him, you'll probably hear him say this. Just quietly say, perhaps with this I might actually be of some use.
Oh, no, you're always of use, sweetheart. Don't be like that. But we can all, as, people, like a flower, grow. And sometimes, sunlight guides the direction the flower grows. And I thought this book would help the growth.
Nhudrel's very
He is-
useful.
His eyes look suspiciously shiny, but he's not going to say anything.
Oh, Yuri's gonna give me a hug.
Fang also joins in the hug.
Yeah, come on,
Wait,
Fang.
what?
Come on,
I-
Hicks. You know you want to.
Stop! Wait, what is happening?
Great Fang.
It's like,
He's
you're
gonna look
a
at
very
Hicks like-
wonderful teacher.
He's gonna look at Hicks like help.
Hicks.
Oh no, Hicks
Hug,
is still
hug,
like
hug.
glaring daggers. He's not moving.
Hicks, oh,
Hicks, your face is broken.
your face is broken.
He's
You're doing
not,
that
he's
thing
not,
again.
We
No,
forgot to
he's not
give
moving.
him. We forgot to give him a key. He is unwell.
Oh, no. Oh yeah.
Fang starts attempting to fashion a key out of one of the flowers that she in her flower bed,
Oh my god.
and then she gives it to
Aw.
Hicks. This might help you feel better. Puts it in his hand.
Hicks isn't even gonna take it. He's just gonna like ignore the fact that Fang was even like, "Hello, anyone want a key?"
Oof.
Gonna tuck it. I don't know if he's got like a pocket or something to like place it, but she's just when he doesn't take it, she's just gonna place it and then walk away.
Oh baby.
Oh, you made the Fang sad.
No, she doesn't know how to respond because he didn't take it, so she's like, "I'm just gonna put this in your bucket
Oh baby.
and walk away."
No.
So after the
Right,
hugging,
so you guys gonna
and
go
the
into a
death.
horrible swirling tempest of lightning? And he's just gonna beam wide. Lightning.
Oh, Fang starts like snooping around her like sleeping
You-
area.
Yuri, if I may ask,
Mhm.
what did this cost you to make?
Why would it cost me anything to write down what I already know?
Is gonna consider the book and all of the stuff that he knows that would probably put Yuri to sleep if he had to read it. I think perhaps that there is information in here that might not have come solely from you.
Did you have the weird... Wait, do you have writing as well that I didn't write? And he's gonna like try and poke his head around to look in the book and start like violently flicking, trying to find if there's stuff that you didn't write in there. if you'd be allowed.
He's just going to open the book to the most driest part of it. Look.
So this is the actual dry stuff of like the information bit.
Yep, the
Oh
most
yeah,
boring
no.
of all informations.
Oh no, I wrote this.
Did you?
Mhm.
And then he's gonna open the page to the cover, the very first thing that that was sent to me in DMs.
Would that be the Valdrakan language?
Would that be about the what?
Your native language?
Videlkian, yeah.
Yes, it's in Vidalkian.
Yeah, you're just gonna go. What is squiggles? What's that?
That's my mother tongue.
Oh, did you write that in there?
No.
Are you all pranking me?
No.
That's a really clever prank.
I think you should know me well enough by now that that isn't
Yeah.
really something I would do.
Roughly right. I'm not going to lie. I don't seem to. I will teach you how to do a good prank. We'll prank Hicks.
I'm not interested, but thank you for the offer.
But yeah, no, I didn't write that. I don't know where that came from. I know where everything else came from. It was me. Me is I. But that. Well, what's it? What does it say?
I can tell you another time, perhaps.
Okay. But I mean, it's a they're what's the word? They're not woven with anything that would be normal here. So, sometimes books write themselves where I'm from. So maybe it's doing that.
And how does it know what to write for each person?
Oh, because I've connected them to your very essences. No one else can open your books. Only you can open your books. And he's just going to smile very sweetly.
What is an essence?
It's you.
Oh, Fang. Baby.
You are Fang.
I am.
Fang. Essence is Fang.
Oh.
It's like your scent, but your inside scent.
Uh.
No, not the stinky inside. It's your heart, your heart-ish, kind of. I don't know. I didn't mean to do it. I just think I don't know how I did it.
The moment sort of Fang asks what is essence, you sort of see Nhudrel kind of visibly click into education mode. And he's just like, this is the intrinsic nature or the indispensable quality of something, the very core of, and he's just like going on
Yeah,
and on.
that.
And on.
And Fang's just like, what the fuck?
Fang's eyes glass over slightly, but she's trying to be like aware of what he's saying,
Oh, baby.
and just like slowly nodding her head.
No, baby.
She knows that he's in teacher mode. She has to listen very intently.
But yeah, Fang's is a diary, yours is a spell book, that's a report book. No one else should be able to open that. So no one can. Not even me, I think.
Fang gets curious and turns to Nhudrel. Open my book.
Just such an intense stare. Open my book.
Open my book or I will end you.
Spread my pages.
Yeah, I was like, what a come on line right there. Jeez. Open
with that tone of voice, Nhudrel does look slightly nervous too, but tries to open the book as asked. Does it work?
What happens? It doesn't budge?
Does he die?
Do I die? Am I dead?
I mean, what I imagine, as long as I don't know if Steve has thought about it, but I always imagine because they're all kind of woven from plants that vines just kind of grow over the side and kind of block it.
Oh.
Yeah, you try to open it, and before you can open it, I like that. Before you can open it, it resists you, and at first you're like, what? And then you notice the little vines that have just like grown on the very tendrils of or edges of the kind of hard covers, or the front and back of the book, and have locked it in.
Okay.
And so yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
Oh.
My comprehension was a little low on that, so. But I was very confused. I was like, why would the book Vine BDSM me? And I'm like, oh, it would lock itself up, right? No, that makes
suddenly the book Shibari's Nhudrel, and Shibari's Nhudrel, and you're all just tied up in an awkward position. No, yeah.
like
No one else can
I
open
was-
these. You'd have to have some pretty strong magic to be able to get into these books. I'm not talking about like level 2 spells here. I'm talking considerably higher.
I get stunned.
Yuri, I would like to ask you something.
Mm-hmm.
What made you think of a spell book for me?
You like knowledge, and you act like a wizard.
I do.
Yeah, you would love my grandpa. But yeah, I mean, I've been around wizards my entire life. Like, I am pretty much one of the only non-wizards in my family, which means I'm kind of the stupid one. But it's okay because I have a nice voice. But that's not the point.
I hadn't-
Anyhow.
I had an urge to say something so out of character. I'm like, no, don't say that. Because you said like you would like my grandpa. I was like, I do like older men. Wait, hold on.
Whoa, whoa.
You leave my granddad alone. He is a nice man.
I'm already gonna marry his mom in another campaign.
No, you're not breaking up the grandparents. That would be very sad. He bakes cakes. You don't ruin a marriage.
The man bakes cakes. Leave him be. Leave him to his cakes.
But yeah, no. I mean, you have a keen sense of knowledge, and I don't know. It just things feel right. It's the reason I do anything, as I act on what my heart tells me to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if a plant grows in one place, it will look very different than if it grows in another.
He's
Every
right.
plant has its own, growth and stuff, and you have. I mean, I can also tell you kind of have a little bit of an aura, which is a little bit magical. So, he does his little jig as he goes, little bit magical. Your little jig. Does just hands. Magic.
I see. It's very obviously not the answer he was looking for, but he will accept it.
Well, so, if you weren't destined to be a wizard or a spell user, you wouldn't have this book.
Ooh.
Why do you say that?
Well, you wouldn't be, it's a magical fairy spell book. You would be accepted by a spell book if you weren't going to become a wizard.
It's your essence.
Mm-hmm.
She says confidently.
Oh my god. Nhudrel has so many more questions, but he's mostly just really proud of the accurate use of the word essence.
Anyhow, if you meet my dad, I'm going to get him to teach you. And he's just going to nod.
Ooh.
I would love that.
Okay, so I don't know how you feel about joining the military. That might be a requirement. It might be, how long do you live?
I
Just ask people how long they live, Yuri.
Shit, I can.
I how do I say
Okay.
this?
Okay,
I-
maybe you can share notes instead.
Yes, perhaps. I've had to work for others for government already. I really don't think I would do well in a military.
Oh, that's fair. I didn't do well either.
Really?
Kind of. Yeah, it's probably why I'm here. Well, no, I never really joined. Everyone else in my family did. Well, no, my siblings did. Both my siblings did, but I didn't quite make
Is that
the cut.
something? Is that something compulsory where you come from?
No. Oh no, no. Maybe for my family. I don't think so. I think we just do what comes natural to us. That's what's important, right? Doing what's best for you as a person.
It doesn't always work that way, but I'm
Why?
glad. That is a very good question.
Well, no, you can always try and do what's best for you, but external factors will try and influence it. But it's just depend on how much you let external stimuli affect the internal, core of who you are. You can adapt without changing who you are, but you must never let it change the internal self to adapt to the external self.
It's not.
His eyes have glassed over again.
Yeah, I know.
Fang.
I feel like while these two are discussing the foibles of this, Fang on one side is like falling asleep. Yeah, like big wounds.
Aw.
I imagine Hicks has just been like packing up camp.
Oh yeah. He's not interested in talking to anyone. He's just literally packing up and he's like, all right, I'm going.
Yeah.
And he'd probably like start walking. Like he'd pack
Yeah.
up his shit and then probably just start like half walking away. Like I'm leaving, bye.
Hicks would probably know a little bit of what Yuri's doing, but Yuri would basically start being. Bang. What I'm gonna do is when you come with me, is I'm gonna take Fang as well. Of course, we're gonna go see all of the meadows. I'm gonna introduce the unicorn. She's gonna love it. But how do you feel about like exploring the internal libraries of Elven knowledge and Arcana? I think you'd find that fun. And basically, what I will say is Hicks probably knows what Yuri is trying to do. He's
I
being a
would.
tempting Fae.
I'm sorry, but at this point, Hicks genuinely would not care about anybody else.
Yeah.
That is completely fine.
That's okay.
He'd pick it up, but he's just not in no mind right now to care about
and
anything else.
You're just gonna come home with me. It's fine. You're gonna stay with me forever.
I can confidently say Hicks's message was not the childhood story that Fang had. It was a very different private interaction.
Oh no. Well,
You make a character from the Shadowfell, you're gonna get some Shadowfell type shit.
Steve's Hicks has actually just got like a ton of insults that I don't know about from Yuri. It's just like you're fat and ugly, love Yuri, and that's what Steve's put in there. You're gonna die like
just bitchy comments.
Your last day alive, blonde boy. Hicks is actually just running off now to go get the pesticide.
Fang, you probably in your in and outness notice that Hicks is like leaving.
Oh, yeah. Fang is scurried to like pack up, but then also she's like looking to see if the paper crane came back.
The paper crane. While you're packing up your stuff under the sort of makeshift pillow that you had made yourself is the purple paper crane, neatly folded, the little origami crane under your pillow.
Excitedly opens it very carefully because she's ripped a few before.
Mm-hmm. Very carefully. It's a single sentence, and all it says is, "Don't worry about us. Have fun on your adventures." That's it. It is in your native tongue.
Uh-huh. Is the handwriting familiar? Is it
Give me an insight or an investigating
Oh
roll on it.
no. Oh no. Okay. It's like there's a +1 to that. It's a 12?
Tough thing about handwriting for your people is they don't write a lot down. They have written
Mhm.
language, but they're mostly a verbal tradition community. They, I don't think the handwriting looks awkward. I think it looks natural.
Mhm.
I will give you with an above 10. The thing that you notice is that it's not like signed. Right? There's no XOXO. There's no like best wishes. It doesn't end
Hugs
in
and kisses.
Mhm.
have fun on your adventures. Cheers. Your found family. Um uh, uh,
Do their people normally sign?
yeah, there'd normally be some sort of like, not so much like a name or something, but like a closure. Sincerely, something a little bit more intimate and personal. But like there'd be basically there's no closure of kindness in this statement. I'm gonna say that that would be something, since you as the player are suspicious of the statement. I will say the thing that triggers the suspicion is that it is one sentence and there is nothing other than have fun as your adventures. There's nothing that like implies any sort of like familiarity. It's
Gonna,
very just straightforward.
I'm gonna sniff check it.
Give me a perception check on that sniff check, or a nature check if that's better for you.
What did the dice just do? That looked weird. Oh, it's only 11.
We are
11.
rolling well between the 10s and 13s
Yeah,
tonight.
y'all are
real?
getting the middling
Ah.
rolls all day.
Ugh.
It's hard because these trains or this magical crane travels, and though it moves so at a magically enhanced speed, and occasionally it portals through things that would endanger it and things like that, it still very much exists in the physical space, so it clears a lot of the natural scent that would be on it.
Hmm. She'll bring the note over to probably Nhudrel and Yuri because Hicks is already like trotting off. Like,
What's that?
I have news from my tribe, but this letter feels strange. It is not signed the way my people usually would write, but I cannot
Fang's
make.
tribe talks like teenagers texting each other. Like it's a very like emotive
Oh my
sort
word.
of thing. There's gonna be a lot of like a lot of basically language versions of what emojis represent in text language. So lots of unnecessary hugs, hard eyes, shit like that, right? But in words.
That's beautiful. That makes me so happy.
Well, in my head, that's what they're like. They're like they're all like people that have been raised on the internet and anime, so they don't communicate with reservation. And so they're all a bit much.
Yes, my people.
I'm not bleeding my perspectives on who I think the player is at all in this.
Sure.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't know if there's anything Yuri or Nhudrel could do about this. This is a magical bit of paper that sends messages. Nhudrel, you know that there are various objects and things in the world that do similar functions,
Mm.
and everything. But there's nothing. I will say that you know that there's nothing perfect about this in the way that it is just a thing that moves through space. So in the same way that a courier with a letter could be waylaid, so too can these.
Can I take a look at it regardless? Just
Yeah.
take the letter and
You know
At
what?
first, Fang showed Nhudrel letters from home before.
Yeah, and so you know that what Fang is saying is consistent, but
Yeah, I will say I'm not going to do a sniff check on it.
what you gonna do?
I think just gonna examine it from all ends and see if this is. I've seen letters before, right? From
Yep.
See if there's anything different.
All right, I'll give you the option. You want to roll Investigate, which is a +4, or Arcana, which is +6. The success on either of these will give you different information.
Oh.
It is a magical thing, so I think Arcana for this one.
All right, that's a 24.
Oh,
Fish!
yay!
I'm actually useful. Look at me.
You're very
Two things
useful.
with the
The
24,
best roll.
with a natural 18 on the die. With the 24, two things. First thing, you are confident that something has happened with the writing on this, that this was intercepted, maybe, or received by the wrong, like something's going on. Second thing, this is important. With 24, there's another spell on this that isn't the messaging paper crane spell.
Ooh. Oh, what the fuck?
And it's not, I will say, without using the spell Detect Magic, because you don't have it yet, because it's a higher level spell and everything, I will give you that it is not, I have to look this up. What am I looking for? I need to look at the School of Magic of this spell so that I'm correct. It is not an illusory spell. So it's not a spell that's changing the text.
Are we being tracked?
No, it's a code, probably. If they're changing the text.
No, it's not a spell that's changing the text.
Oh.
It's not an illusory magic spell. You don't know what school it is, but you know that it's not that. You're actually quite familiar, I would say, based off your history, with illusory, with what's the spell? Illusory word or something like that.
Yeah, I would probably pick up on that.
Yeah, you would just know that from your previous job.
So this is not that.
This is very concerning. I'm going to bring the letter, the thing, to the others. Wait, where's Hicks?
Hicks is already.
He'd be around.
You can see
he's like
Hicks
kind
in
of
the
finishing,
distance.
packing up kind of thing. It's like finishing up and about to vacate.
Hicks, I think perhaps I might need your insight on this if you have the time.
What is going on?
This letter.
He's obviously like not paid attention to like anything that anyone else has done. He's just like, why? I don't have time for you right now. What do you want?
Yeah.
What?
This letter that Fang has received, there is something wrong with it. It does not need to be decoded or anything like that, but please, would you mind having a look?
Yuri's going to be annoying and poke his head like next to Hanks. And go, can I look too?
Of course. Yeah.
Yay! What am I looking at?
Fang is getting increasingly stressed because she doesn't know what's happening.
Well, Hicks would like, I don't know, hold out his hand. If
Yuri's going to do that thing where his head's in the way of Hanks' hand.
Oh my god.
Holds it higher above his head. Give it.
I move my head up.
No, but
You're
you're
too short.
Too short. Too short. I made you short for a reason.
Yuri like sound like no. That's going on his tippy toes.
But yes, there is something else that has been cast on this, and I can't.
Hicks, you can roll an Arcana about this. based off your
yeah.
character.
Me with my -1. Let's go.
Yeah, based
Could
off your
I-
character background. And Yuri, you can as well, actually. Both of
Could
you.
I like specifically look because
2.
of
Yeah, Hex is not interested.
my family? Could I specifically look if it's divination or enchantment?
Yeah, give me
Because
your.
I feel like that's the only ones really Yuri would know too much about.
Yeah, give me
Divination,
give me a
actually.
roll on that one. It will have to be Arcana since we're not using.
Yeah,
detect
no, that's
magic.
fine. I'm not very smart, so okay.
Hicks looked. He took the thing. He went. He flipped it over. Went. Don't see anything. Hang on. Went back to packing.
I will say, based off of your prompt there, it's divination magic.
Oh, this is no. So they're probably trying to tell. Yeah, they're trying to follow. Probably Fang. It's divination. It's scrying magic, tracking magic. He's just gonna look at the letter and go, "Hi." Just as if like the letter can see him, because he doesn't know what kind of divination it is.
Yeah.
Burn the letter and get rid of it. If you're being tracked.
I'm more concerned about her family.
Me too. Unfortunately, Hicks is right, though. You probably need to destroy it, but I think we should go find. I don't know how far away are they, but we should probably go check on them.
Fang's home is not close. It would take weeks and weeks of travel to get to where Fang lives. Fang's people live.
Would I know that?
Yeah. They are inland. They're definitely to the east. Same continent, just other side of it. And yeah, that's the so. Yeah, Fang's home is not close.
Yeah, did the letter even make it back to her tribe, or was it intercepted before it even got there?
It's come back to you on things that you'd probably be pretty sure it can do it in a day.
Okay, do it in a day.
Yeah, it can do it in a day. It's come back to you, but you don't know. It could have been intercepted, like from above the table thing. Yes, it could have been intercepted.
Mhm.
That is a possibility. It could have gotten to your tribe, and something else is going on. It could be any number of things. But yes, you have the point of that is to basically act like a seek and locate two-way message spell that allows those kinds of greater distances, but with the threat of it's not like message where I think of, it's not like me directly picking a person and being like, they're on the same plane as me. I talk to them definitely. Right. And everything. And it's the kind of thing that is common enough in like organized spaces and is, I wouldn't say surprising, but like is unique amongst your tribe. In the way that it's not like they've got like 7 or 8 of these. It's not like they're like, oh, we just got a bunch of these cranes that we can send out in all different directions. This is the one crane that they had that they gave to you when you started going far afield.
So if I burn this crane, that's it.
Yep.
Oh man. Oh.
Choices. How villainous do you want to let the GM be? You want to keep the good thing that might get back to your family, but also it could be watching you.
It's been tampered with, so we don't even know if it works correctly anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I might go back to them.
Would my orb that I commandeered, would it block any type of like divination, scrying type magic in the little orby?
You know what? I'm going to roll a d20 about it. I'm just going to roll a flat d20 about it. I'm rolling it
I
off.
guess it would depend if it was in a like different plane or not. If it's like a little.
I haven't decided if it is pretty extra planar as a thing, and so I don't know if it can hide from scry or not. You know what? I'm gonna say yes because that was nat 1, and I was rolling for myself to be a bad guy. So, yeah, you probably assume that because it's there's almost certainly a extra planar space that, unless this spell was so powerful that it could scry across planes, which would be pretty hot magic to put on a paper folding crane.
Paper crane.
That'd be a pretty pricey, a pretty high level spell to do that. And even the best of those doesn't work 5% of the time. I would say that you could suspect that if you put something in the Pokeball, if you will, that it couldn't be scried upon.
This is when he just puts Fang in the Pokeball.
I choose you, Fang. Rah.
I sure
Yeah,
did.
Fang,
I mean,
Beast form!
Hicks would just like, he's not really like, he doesn't, it doesn't look like he's paying attention to what's going on, but since he heard the
Who's everyone? Y'all still with me? I No, of course not. Thought it was me. I assumed it was me. And rejoin. Hello? Hello? Making noises. Quick. Reconnect.
There we go. Okay,
Okay,
we've
I'm
got
back.
Reia.
Hello.
Reia's alive.
Okay, I'm back.
Steve alive?
I'm here.
I don't hear Reia though.
I hear her.
I can hear Ray.
Now I do.
I'm here.
Okay, I can hear Steve too.
I hear Steve. I hear everybody pretty much.
Yeah, I just had
Can
to,
you hear us?
and I can hear all of you as well.
Okay, Discord just had a meltdown.
Okay, that was a Discord thing because I was like, this is weird, but whatever. It felt very much like a my internet thing, but
No, I think it was a Discord thing.
I had to leave and come back as well, so
yeah, there you go. Okay, so I
Anyways,
got to
Um,
the Pokeball you could definitely keep there, and then we were joking about Fang and the Pokeball, and then that's when
Yeah, so
Yeah, that was the last
basically
I
what
heard.
Hicks was doing is like he was listening in on the conversation, but not like looking at them, kind of like how he was doing earlier with Yuri. And then he would just kind of like, without even looking at them, he'd just say, I can put the crane in the orb. It might be strong enough to, well, hide it from any scrying type magic.
Like a cat with water, the second the orb comes out, Yuri fucking legs it.
or
That,
That.
or we destroy it.
okay. Fang, I know I don't ask you questions, but I feel like perhaps I do need to ask in this case. Do you know of any reason why somebody would try to find you?
Me, no.
Hmm.
But
But she's
better
cool.
they find me than look for my tribe.
No, not exactly, Fang. If they're using divinate, I'm having a moment.
Yuri, it's fine.
If they're using divinate,
He's scared of the bull. That's why he's
Vinci.
freaking out.
Yeah, Yuri's up a tree now. Yuri is up a tree like a cat because he does not like the bull. But it's like when when cats see the what was that vegetable when they're like
Cucumber.
snake."
Oh, the
The surprise
cucumber.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's Yuri with the bull. But so he's up a bull, but he kind of hangs upside down for a moment. And goes, Bang! If they're using divination, they can very easily find you, and then you they can just look in your mind and find out where everyone you know is. They're finding you is bad because if they're close enough to enter your mind, you're no information safe.
I think it's visibly uncomfortable.
I
But
was
I can learn a
wondering.
song in time to prevent that. Counter charm. Oh wait, no, that's counter charm. Oh, ignore me. Does counter charm work? Because it's a wisdom save for. I'm not sure. I don't know if counter charm works against detect thoughts.
Right. I don't know. I have to look that up.
I was concerned that the end game might be your family.
I'm also worried for my family. I would not be okay to destroy the crane. It's a relic, or my only relic, our tribe's relic. We only have one. But if we can put it in the ball and it's safe, I would like to do that.
Well, I can't say I have much experience with these physical orbs, so not making any promises it'll come out 100% the time next time we take it out.
Any chance to preserve it, I will take.
Oh.
I trust you. She gives Hicks the crane.
Aw, she's so cute. Yeah, he'll do. I don't even know. How does he open? How would he open
You figured it
the
out
orb
last.
specifically?
You figured it out
Yeah.
last time.
It'll probably be like he has to like draw like a sigilly thing.
Yeah, it's a little trace rune on the finger to the ball.
Yeah, so
and
he'd
everything.
do that and then open it. Pop the crane in.
And yeah, it's almost like the ball understands your intention.
Oh.
Because it could grab people, right? There's people around, but it almost understands your intention. Like that's part of tracing the sigils. It's like, oh, you want me to swallow the crane, and the crane sort of disapparates into like a little it's so small, and it's parchment paper colored, so it almost looks like a puff of smoke or almost like a vapor, and then it's zoop into the ball. And that's not dissimilar to when you were testing it out with the bodies, like exactly what it did with the bodies. What it did with the bodies when you were testing it out on the group of them and then the individual body.
My guinea pigs. Once it's in, he'll close it, and then I'm guessing he'd love to do like a Tracy thingy again to lock it, quote unquote, and then he'd put it back in magical backpack.
I don't think
My
Yuri.
brain.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say I don't think Yuri got an answer before, so he would just ask again, like, Fang, how far away how far is your home?
A long way from here.
Well, maybe in the city with the storm, or the other city, we should look for something that can take us places fast, like a big owl.
A big owl.
Yeah? Have you never flown on a big owl?
No, I have not flown a big owl.
You have not.
Yuri, you've never Ubered anywhere? That's wild. That's wild. It is 2023.
Giant elven owls
never
are now canonly Uber.
You've never just hit up your
Uber.
Speaking Stone app.
Uber owl.
Uber hours. Uber owls.
Oh wait, no, it would be. Oh no, but that would be a woo. Oh no, because I was gonna get like the owl, like a woober, but then it's like
a woober.
It's actually, but it's the really annoying owl from Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, and it just tells you a really boring story. But it's so that you fall asleep. So then you wake up and you're there, and you're like, oh, what a refreshing journey.
What a great time. I can never sleep on flights. What a wonderful time.
Hicks would kind of like, once he's put the orb away, he'd just say, you can discuss your plans of getting to your next destination on the way to the storm. All right, we're not staying here any longer. Let's go.
Fang gives a nod and follows along.
Yes, sir! And he does like a stupid fake march.
While they're walking, can Nhudrel come up to Hicks and just quietly ask him, "Is everything all right?" You seem more stressed than usual.
Hex is just not going to answer. Like, I didn't like. He'll look at Nhudrel, and then the minute he hears the question, he's just gonna look away and not answer him.
Which is kind of an answer.
Yeah, I guess. But there's no verbal.
There's no response. You're being ridiculous or anything like that. It's a non-answer is kind of an answer.
Yeah, but his face is obviously again like completely blank, and he doesn't like seem annoyed anymore. It's just again like unreadable almost.
You just get he's quiet for a second, and it's like he's not gonna answer, or he's not gonna like repeat his question or anything like that. But then he just quietly says, "If there is anything I can help, do let me know.
No.
If not, that is alright too."
He's just
He's not
like
gonna-
midway through Nhudrel speaking. He's just like, no.
Yeah, he's not gonna take offense to it. It's like, alright, that is fair enough.
Fang like pauses for a moment, hard sprints back to the camp, grabs like one of each flower, tucks it in her little stuffed bunny's arms, and then puts Bunny back in her bag, and then hard sprints back to the group.
You're cute.
I almost forgot.
She can make Bunny a flower crown.
Yeah.
That's what she can do along the way.
Yes.
Yuri can help her.
All right.
Yeah.
You all travel toward the storm. The storm.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take long. You were only about a few hours outside of the edges of it. So you travel in what appears to be an incredibly calm spring day, and instead, and it's almost like you're approaching it, and as you get closer to it, it becomes more and more strange because you come more and more to the edge of this storm. Now, again, you're not yet at Neapolis. You're at the outer edges of the storm, which expands certainly over the entire capital of the Synod, over the whole capital of the city. But it reaches out further, now that you're here, it reaches out further beyond the edges of that city by a significant enough amount. The trees have cleared away. Whether that's natural or unnatural, you don't know. It's not like there's a wave of destruction or anything like that. It's just suddenly there's just less woods, there's less trees, and now you're kind of in open, sort of like low shrubbery sort of nature, without much blocking your view. And it, well in advance, before you reach its edge, you can very clearly see there's the edge of the clouds up high, of the dark storm clouds. You can see into the storm. It's hazy because in different sections of it, there's obviously rain coming down. There's smoke in the distance coming from what you now see in the faraway orange glow. Like off in the distance is probably the outer edges of Neapolis and the fires that have caused there. But you can also see before you arrive at said location, you can see the arcane. I think I call it the arcane crest. Arcane crest. Yes, that's what I called it.
Yes.
I'm sure that's what I called it.
Contra.
Crest Arcana. You can see the Crest Arcana. Or Wizard Hill, as the local
Wizard Hill
that aren't there. 8 towers in an octagonal pattern. Pattern on the smallest of hills. Barely recognized. It's technically a hill. It's more like a slight incline up to a bit of a plateau. 8 thin wizards' towers, all representing each of their schools of magic and aesthetic and design. Not garishly. They're all pretty similar. They're all pretty much made of a pretty large stone block. It's obviously a very deliberate and symmetrical construction. But if you sat and studied it for a while, you'd be like, oh, that one is all black, and maybe there's more cobwebs on it. That's obviously the necromancy tower. Oh, that one is like a little bit more aura glowy and seems like a little bit more lit from inside. That might be the divination tower. Oh, that tower has like a gentle color sheen to it. It's all very subtle. It's not there on a glance, or even at this distance. It probably, for the most part, at first looks like these are 8 identical towers, all of the same height, all equidistant from each other, all very much looking like wizard towers that you've either run into yourselves or read about. In the fashion, but lacking the uniqueness that wizard towers normally have. And that is inside the storm. You are now currently outside the storm. You see where the edge of the storm is. You can decide to push into the storm. Going east and west of you, there is grass, right? Trees and stuff. But it is a mostly clear day on your side of this kind of invisible wall. And then on the storm side, it is an absolute, like, raging lightning storm. And you can hear the thunder. The thunder is now very clear and it's very apparent.
Is the vegetation? Sorry, before you go, is the vegetation grassy still, or is it like just like? Because I know it's not woody, but like.
Yeah, it's still grassy. It's still grassy here. It's still very natural. It's just,
Okay.
in those spaces between where a bunch of trees have taken over, where it's just sort of like rolling hills of grass and kind of low shrubbery, stuff like that.
Mayuri?
Because I don't. Well, I know last time we discussed probably heading towards the Conjuration Tower, because it's
That's the
potential
portal
for
magic
vehicles.
tower, yeah.
Yeah, is it obvious to tell which one's the Conjuration Tower?
Yeah,
from here?
like, again, it's more that it's more obvious to tell what a lot of the other towers are, right? Evocation is really easy. There's elements on it. You can like the occasional thin line of flame, or like trickle of water stuff. It's kind of awkward to see through the storm, but if you stood there for like 15 minutes and really kind of like looked at this and it's like, okay, that's definitely that. They're not trying to hide what the towers are. They obviously, it's
Yeah.
almost like some construction company came in and is like, we built these 8 towers to exact specifications and they're all exactly the same. And then by nature of them being
Okay.
towers that house those magic, they get a little bit of flavor of that magic. If you were in them, you could easily, with arcana checks and just being amongst magic, the magic users here could easily be like, all right, that's definitely the Conjuration Tower. They might even be labeled if you get up close to them.
Okay. As Yuri kind of like points at the Conjuration kind of vibey tower, he will go, "Oh, my voice."
Oh,
He'll go, I've become Granville. Hello.
Granddad!
He's just like wow, that tower turned me old, and that's the end. And then I just
Okay,
become
then
like
Yuri
a
died.
bit of mulch.
I know that you said this tower turned me old, but my brain heard
My brain heard what?
something else.
My tower turned.
I'm trying to figure out what the double entendre,
Yeah,
like where the
I
dirty
feel like I'm
thought
having a
is.
moment.
I'm like, I can't
I don't
figure
get
that
No,
out.
there was a dirty thought, and I was going to say it, and then my brain deleted what the fuck it was out of my brain. I'm like, what the fuck was it?
Mm.
I'm assuming what Jack might have heard is the tower turned me on.
There we go.
I have no idea.
Tower turned
Do you
me
know
on.
what?
Just 8
Let's
phallic
not
symbols.
kink shame the plant.
It's-
But
Tower
no.
turned the font on.
Oh yeah, so kind of important thing, forgot to mention. You all are now carrying items native to the Feywild. Please don't ever let a wizard or mortal get a hold of it, because they will do dangerous things to get a hold of that. Just don't give it to anyone ever. Let them don't. It's your property, no one else's, and they can never have it. And if you do, you could potentially make. Well, to be fair, you would probably maybe make more accidental rings.
Fang shifts things around in her bag to make sure Bunny's also holding on to the book in the bag.
To be fair, this orb could be like a bag of holding for like really small things.
I mean, it's supposed to be able to fit up to a
I can
medium-sized
put your
creature,
earring
which
in
can
it.
be.
I can put like a ring in it.
Yeah, it's supposed to. You could do
To be
that.
fair, depending on the
Small
nature of
things, though.
the magic and the orb, I don't know if it would interact well with the book.
Yeah, no, that might
I
be
know,
a problem.
probably not. But I'm saying small things.
But yeah,
Small, like
We might-
normal
we
material
might make
things.
a black hole.
Put
But yeah,
little things inside.
I'm trying to think, and if I had to estimate, it could probably
Because
hold.
it's a physical orb.
Yeah, it's a physical orb, and it could probably
Or physical
hold.
holder.
But like even the planar side of things, it's probably technically could hold up to about. We're gonna say 320 pounds of material, or thereabouts,
Ooh.
and something that is up to like an 8 foot tall humanoid, which is sort of the top layer of medium sized creature, because that's what it's built. It's to hold
whole
one medium.
Fang.
So
The
yeah, it
whole
could hold
Fang
Fang.
inside.
If you collected a bunch of stuff and put them into a chest and it weighed as much as Fang, it could in theory take the whole chest of it and everything. But the problem is on release, it
We
just
don't
releases
know.
everything. It just gives you
Oh.
that. And so even if you did define, because you're pretty sure it can hold a medium sized thing, but based off of your body test, you're pretty sure it was just that there was too many bodies. There was not enough space to contain them, so it crushed
Yeah.
them down. And so you're pretty
But
confident.
if there's enough space.
If there's enough space, it's not going to harm anything. But when you release it, it releases everything that's in it. So unlike, say, a bag of holding where you could reach in and get the thing that you want, with this, it would almost be like, man, if we were just traveling across the country with like like a camping equipment and just wanted to like pack it all up and carry it conveniently everywhere we went and then deploy it, not as a full camp, but like just carry it. It's just it's like the perfect piece of luggage that can carry all of your material, but then spreads it out in the hotel room the moment that you open it up.
Except we've only tested it on a dead body. So
Yeah.
I
know
don't
I'm not-
actually know what it's going to do to other things.
I know I'm not like Hinks, and I shouldn't be having these thoughts. But say if we got like 100 of his little daggers that don't actually kill people but do damage, and just filled it with that, it could be a torture bomb.
Could be.
No, but it doesn't like explode, doesn't it? Just like seep
Yeah,
out
but like
in
it's
the
like
mist.
surface pressure. If it's too many of them smushed in, like you overfulfill, then there would be.
Oh, so you want to put
Oh.
someone inside with the daggers?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. See, no, I'm not Hinks.
You're just
What were you
figuring out
thinking?
Torture bad.
how can we.
Torture bad.
No, I think what you were saying, Sam, is that if you had something that wasn't so squishable like human flesh, if you had something like metal and you had a whole bunch of them and you forced all of those things into a space, they would inevitably force themselves out and give themselves their own momentum on just simply being able to release and expand to their proper shape.
Yeah, it's just like the release of water. You fill something with water as soon as
okay.
there's a way of release, it goes as any direction it can.
And of course,
So
you
it's
could
like-
be like 40 feet up from the thing and just release them down, and then they'd have their momentum of
Yeah.
speed and then stab.
But that
a bunch
is
of things.
Yuri trying to be like, look, I can be creepy, and then Hicks going, no, this is how you do it. You put the person inside.
Yeah.
Look,
better to just
Yuri
have
does
secret-
not have thoughts of torture.
I haven't
I'm
even-
sorry to.
I'm
put it out
very
there.
upset at this. I'm very upset at this Pokeball thing that I've given you because it's very good. But like, I just realized, like, you could just be like, all right, we need to infiltrate this space, but we need someone that can like immediately harm them very quickly. So you put Fang in the Pokeball, and then you got to have someone to be able to release it. It's got to be able.
No,
to
it's
handle
fine.
this.
It's fine. We'll put Fang in the Pokeball. Hicks will just like Raven Queen Blessing step into wherever the fuck they need to go. He can go like 30 feet
Yeah.
or whatever it is.
Yeah.
He can
On the
just
other side of the
there,
wall.
and then he releases her, and then all shit goes.
Yeah, I guess
Fang.
I've kind of made a situation where with a little bit more time, it turns Misty Step into a little bit of a dimension door.
To be fair though,
Yeah.
my because I'm an Eladrin, my Misty
But I
Step
don't
is
know-
a dimension door.
Yeah, yours
So
is. Yeah.
it's not really. Yeah, so
Couple-
you've just got my Misty Step with more steps, so it's not too bad.
It's not. Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, it's a good item because it's like it can get around things. You can gimmick it, but it's not so powerful that it's that
Yeah, like
that it
you.
breaks the
I mean,
game.
imagine it wouldn't break the game in the fact like there's the final boss and Hicks just goes insignia and then sucks the final boss into the orb.
Oh, you
know?
better. Yeah, obviously.
No.
Yeah.
It's
Someone's
got to
like,
be
That's all
weakened or
we-
willing is probably the master.
Well, no, because the people that get trapped inside are not necessarily going to be willing.
yeah,
So it'd have to do with I don't know.
Oh no, that's
something.
why I said weakened or willing.
weakened or willing. Either way.
Yeah, weakened or willing. Yeah,
Um,
that makes sense. So when we knock the boss down a bit, then he could probably like.
So
suck it
yeah,
in,
you're looking
but,
at these
yeah.
8
Ugh.
towers. You're on the outside.
I like this ball.
You know that there's the Conjuration Tower. Yuri just warned you. Maybe don't let people get your
don't
realm books.
let anyone touch the book. That was actually the point of this conversation. Thanks, Jess. You stinky bitch.
Yeah, a nice toy.
But yeah, does anyone react to that at all?
Well, yeah, Fang shifted her stuff in her bag so that Bunny was holding onto the book.
Ah, give Bunny. I'm gonna
Yeah,
awaken
give
Bunny one
Bunny.
day. You just wait until I get awakened.
I can't wait to voice the bunny with this voice.
Oh my fucking god!
What's up? Fang, you're my very favoriteest person. Please give me snuggies.
His name's Susan.
Yeah, I'll be very upset if he doesn't have a funny name.
It's Bunny.
Funny.
The bunny named Bunny.
Oh, can we call him Bradley?
Yeah, I was like,
No,
Bradley.
Mr. Bunny
Bradley.
Bunsworth.
Bunny Bunsworth.
Yeah.
hey,
perfect.
call me whatever you want. Just make sure that I get maximum
don't make
cuddles.
Bunny creepy. No, don't make Bunny creepy. I will sue.
There's nothing creepy about this voice. It's just smoked a lot of cigars,
Okay.
kid.
Oh my god.
Let's go towards the tower. Onto the Conjuration Tower where they oh yeah, Nhudrel, I don't know if you've watched the thing, but Yuri did kind of casually let slip that conjurers have kidnapped his friends before. Just to give context in case you've not watched it.
okay.
Yeah,
Because that's what summoning spells are.
yeah, you're pretty sure that the conjuration, that, like, again, talking with the students, they didn't like have hard knowledge of things, but there were no conjuration students from there were no conjuration students in their group, and there was every other school of magic. And conjuration is the school that deals with, like, in this material world, it deals mostly with far range travel and teleportation. But it is eventually the space that, you know, in D&D, it's the one where it's like, I would like to travel across planes, please.
It's the
One
it's-
ticket, please.
it's the ones that also have all the spells against Fae.
Yep. Weird
No
that.
goodie.
Hello. Hello, my sweetheart.
I love how you've got a really loving moment with your pet, and my cat's just come to do his shit next.
Is it?
Yeah, so
My tiny man.
do you approach, do you cross the field from the non-storm to the storm area?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna need everybody to please roll me a Constitution saving throw and
Oh, I'm so
a
good at those.
and a Dexterity saving throw, please.
Oh, that's a bit better.
So
Oh,
Con
I'm
and
great
Dex.
at those.
Hold on.
Con and Dex.
Sorry, Ducky.
Somewhere,
Oh, do you know what?
somehow,
Do you know
I
what?
got a
Map.
20 on the con save.
somewhere, somehow, a man with cabbages holds his cabbages to him.
Not the cabbage nado.
Always cabbages.
17 on Con and
I've got a 21 on the deck save.
All right, so Fang, you're covered.
and 20 on Dex. So 17 Con, 20 Dex.
Okay. Those are yours for Hicks. What did you get, Yuri? I'm sure it's in the chat.
Yuri's
like
fine. He's
24 and a
20, above
19.
20.
24 and
19, I think.
19. Yeah, 16.
No,
16.
it's 16.
There it is.
Oh, well.
24 and 16,
Numbers are
that's
hard.
fine. And then I will roll for Nhudrel here real quick.
Thank
One of
you.
us gets blown away.
That's an unfortunate.
That's
Force
neutral.
fitting- That's Nhudrel. And
That's neutral.
Neutral
Neutral.
I'm so sorry,
that.
Jack.
Boy got lost in a-
Everyone else just crushes it, and then I roll for you, and I get a 10 and a 14, respectively.
Do you know what? Neutral's been rolling
I
really
love
well
that.
this session, though.
Yeah, not terribly. But nonetheless, let's talk. Let's talk what happens. So, crossing into the storm, the first thing that occurs is that all of you feel like wind just sharply and sporadically gust and just like cut at you. It almost
terrible.
feels like cold knives trying to pierce your skin. It is so unnaturally cold, but just shy of freezing. So the rain maybe up top, right by the clouds, is sleet, and it comes down. It's unpleasant. It's not damaging you, but it's immediately limiting, or would be limiting without compensation, all of your like movement and momentum. For Yuri, for Fang, this makes a ton of sense, and for Hicks, you're all able to address that and compensate for it.
I will
Awesome.
say, whoever is stood behind Yuri gets so many like flowers, like just suddenly smack you in the face.
Just
as
so
they
many
fall out of
flowers.
his hair.
Just
Neutral gets back to the face of flower.
It's probably neutral.
yep.
Just like you just
That's
pop
why
out
he
like a
falls
daisy.
over.
Oh yeah, no, it's Yuri's fault. Yeah, no, 100%.
I'm
Just
going
'cause
to
you've got
be-
like a daisy in the eye.
I'm going to be extremely kind here. Fang specifically. Fang, I need you to roll an insight check. I know it's not your strength as a character, but I need you to roll an insight
Okay.
check for this
Insight
next part of
rolling
narration.
and glitching really hard. What is that? 9, I think.
No, it's not even come through. Oh yeah, 9.
Yeah, 9. 9. Okay. Nothing doing that. All of you, including Nhudrel, maybe not Nhudrel. I don't know how much hair Nhudrel has on their body.
What?
How much hair Nhudrel has on their
Hair.
body.
Well, I
If they
mean,
have-
I don't know if this
On their
changes
body?
it, but Hicks says has the hood up still of his cloak. So I don't know if that'll
that doesn't
anything.
change anything
Okay.
in this. But whether it's peach fuzz, yeah, I don't know if Videlkins are like dolphin smooth or not.
They're
Well, to be fair, they are in main law because they're bold as
Yeah.
well. I think in main law.
he's a dolphin. He
Yeah, you've got-
exists
you've
in
got
the-
head
Oh my
hair,
god,
though.
Neutral's wearing a wig.
Snatched.
But nonetheless, Hicks, Fang, and Yuri, hair stands back up on the back of your neck, and be it the grace of luck or chance, with a little bit of your instinct, you all immediately put together that lightning is coming, and jump and move out of the way. Unfortunately, whether it be the heavy armor or the lack of body hair, Nhudrel does not. Nhudrel, I'm going to do a certain amount of damage to you from this lightning
Yay.
bolt.
I love that.
Not much. It's not much because it's not like targeted magic lightning, but it is 5 damage.
Oh,
It becomes
Well, you still got those 2 temp hit points, so
yeah.
Yeah, you have to, so it's only 3.
It's only 3 damage. However, this immediately becomes apparent. You're here. Nothing is magically preventing you from
it's
being
Legend
here.
of Zelda.
But
No metal.
nothing is magically preventing being here. You all saw that the strikes of lightning hit in your rough regions that you were all just standing in. It's just Nhudrel's is the only one that caught him. But you are here. Nothing's preventing you from being here, but it's extremely dangerous to be here. If you want to go or move around in this place, it's about speed, it's about movement, it's about getting to a place and maybe getting under cover. Because lightning, as you can see, especially now that you're in the storm, is persistent, frequent, and not as dangerous as if someone said call lightning down or cast lightning bolt or what have you. But at the frequency, if you dawdle, it's going to hurt. And with that, because it's close enough to 310 or 315 and my time, and I've got an eye appointment to get to. With that, and the fact that we're not going to be able to get deep into anything that you much do, we will end this session here and pick up inside of the greater metropolitan Neapolis area, and more importantly, Crest Arcana or Wizard Hill, and see what you all will find next time.